90,000 in the crowd, Jasprit Bumrah in the middle. What is teenager Sam Konstas in for in the Boxing Day test? Michael Clarke questions the Aussie selectors as Nathan mcSweeney goes bang in the Big Bash. And Annabel Sutherland guides Australia to another series win. Let's go around the wicket.
Standing with my teammates, spraying champagne. It was one of the great moments.
Still got the jacket?
Yes, hanging proudly in the wardrobe. I'll have to get it out on the show one day.
I think you should. Gold buttons for Christmas Eve, please. I'm holding you to it.
Righto then, send me a reminder.
And indeed we did. Festive spirit, Callum Ferguson 2009 Champions Trophy, those gold buttons on full display.
Have a look at it. Seriously, it's popping on the screen. I can just see in the monitor in the background, but yeah, it takes me back. Great memories playing for Australia. Winning a major tournament was a huge highlight in my career, but I'm not sure it looks bloody ridiculous.
Is this the first time you've worn it since then?
It actually is, yeah. It's probably got a faint smell of old champagne, but it is magnificent and it's something I'm very proud of.
And there's some big news in the Champions Trophy we'll get to a little bit later in the show, but we need to start, of course, with the Boxing Day test. Aaron Finch, Callum Ferguson, of course, alongside me, Michael Clarke to join us shortly. Boys, I've looked ahead at the weather forecast for Sydney, and I've got to say, it doesn't look great. It's chopping and changing, but it just puts the pressure back on how big this test is at the MCG.
Something different. Rain in Sydney again, around a test match.
Same old story.
Yeah, take that test match somewhere else. I'm only joking. I don't mean that. It's a great spectacle. Obviously, the McGrath test match as well, the McGrath Foundation. So that's brilliant. But huge test match. I mean, to go one up in a series like this is so important. So by all reports, the Wicket looks like it's going to be a good one in Melbourne, but there will be a result. So fingers crossed.
Absolutely.
Especially for Australia, because if India draw, then of course they retain the Border-Gavaskar trophy. Sam Konstas, we'll talk about him more with Michael Clarke, but it seems that the selectors have reverted back to picking in position rather than picking their top six batters, which they've done for a couple of years now. What do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I don't think this necessarily means they're abandoning the whole best top six, looking at it a bit closer over the last few days. But they're certainly picking what they think is the best top six to take on India in this next test match. So really excited that Sam Konstas looks like getting an opportunity. And I feel like he's got the game that can take him to great success at this level. And to see the way he's taken to first-class cricket this season has been enormously exciting for Australian cricket. It's great to see Australia taking an eye to the future.
I was always of the belief just pick your six best batters, and I've probably changed a little bit in the last couple of weeks actually, because I've worked out that it's important to have an opener open the batting in Test cricket, particularly against world-class attacks. I think if you go other places around the world, you can go to the subcontinent, and it's a bit easier for guys to adapt to the top. You can mix and match a little bit more to get that combination right that you want in the side. But I think for now, particularly in Australia, you need a specialist opener. A lot
of talk about the selectors and future-proofing or lack of future-proofing with the age dynamic. You're pretty fired up about this?
Well, if you think that, and there's been a lot of comment about it recently, but if you think that they're not thinking forward, that's ridiculous. I mean, and people are saying, well, the team's too old now. Well, they're not going to change three positions in a week just because people are jumping on the bandwagon. There is the amount of games that people have played in white ball formats for Australia recently. I think that suggests that, yes, they're thinking forward to the future, that they've got that in place so that when guys do make their debut or come into Test cricket, international cricket's not foreign. So it's a different way of going about it, but I think that they're absolutely doing it already. Nathan
mcSweeney, a lot of talk about him. He says he's devastated to be axed from the Test side, and understandably so. Even out of the squad, he came out for the Heat and 78 not out of 49, an amazing display. It must have felt like facing, a medicine ball against Bumrah and then that white, beautiful ball going back to the Big Bash. But you can both relate to this. Ferg, you played the one test and then were a victim of the Hobart debacle where they made sweeping changes for the next test in Adelaide. Finchy, you can relate to it in the sense that you were picked out of position to open the batting for Australia against India. I know you were both at a little bit older age, so it's a little different to Nathan mcSweeney, but how much does it hit you? How long did it take to come to terms with that?
probably took me a lot longer than I was willing to admit at the time. I think having waited quite a while to get my opportunity at test level, it certainly burnt me and stung me at the time, and I probably clung on just desperately looking to fight my way back into the test side. I probably held on a bit tight when I was at the crease trying too hard for probably a month after that. So once I realised what was happening and I spoke to some people, I was able to right the ship, but it took me a good while to get my game back in order. I was probably just not playing in a natural manner that was natural to me. So it took me a fair while, probably I'm going to say 3 or 4 Shield games to get organised again. But to see the way Nathan mcSweeney bounced back the other day, it looks like he's in a pretty good headspace now, having had a bit of a chat to him at the ground. He's got the right people around him. He's back home in Brisbane for the next week or so, which is fantastic for him. He's got the support network around him. He's in good shape.
Yeah, for me, I was a bit out of my depth in Test cricket anyway, and there's so much. There was so much white ball cricket coming up. I think I went back and played Big Bash the next night or that night even, and then there was one-day tours after one-day tour coming up in the near future, and we had a couple of away tours, really big ones against India and then Pakistan in the lead up to a World Cup. So I didn't have a huge amount of time to cling on to it, and yeah, I was a bit different to Ferg. I was pretty quick.
Pretty happy with the 5 tests?
5, probably 5 more than I should have played.
We could do an entire play on of how many times you've said that on this show. Yeah. We love a bit of self-effacing humour from Aaron Finch. Don't go anywhere because Michael Clarke is coming up. We're going to chat about the 19-year-old debutant.
It's happened really quick, to be honest. I wasn't too phased about it, but feel like I'm a pretty relaxed person. And yeah, just trying to live in the moment.
You've got a plan for Bumrah if you play?
I do. I'm not going to say what it is, but just trying to put pressure back on the bowlers. Pretty simple, just back myself and just sable people, really. Just another day at it, back myself and be fearless. Yeah. Oh, Bumrah.
Sam Konstas, see ball, hit ball. The 19-year-old certainly doesn't have any baggage heading into the Boxing Day test. Michael Clarke, former Australian captain, joins us now. Pup, we just saw there a little bit of a Joe Root-esque ramp shot in the nets. We don't usually see that leading up to an Australian test. What do you think about this 19-year-old? What are we in for?
I think it's great to be young. How are you guys? Thanks for having me. Fearless, I think, is the right word. When you're young, you literally are. You walk out to bat and you're so excited and proud and honoured to be selected in an Australian squad. And I'm sure if Sam gets his opportunity, that's the way he's going to play. He's going to say it's a win-win. I've received my dream, my baggy green cap, and I'll walk out and face that first ball. I'm going to see that ball, and if it's there to hit, I'm going to hit it. So super excited for him. Yeah, sometimes less is more. Sometimes the less you know about certain players, the more you can just focus on the ball and not the bowler. So I think that might be important for him.
How is he going to go? 90,000, and Australia have said that they want something a little bit different at the top. They're certainly going to get it with Sam Konstas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what he brings to the table, like Pup said, is no baggage at all. He's coming in with a clear mind, in good form, and the ignorance of youth can sometimes just free other people up as well. And I like what he said there. He's going to look to put pressure back on Jasprit Bumrah. Easier said than done, but I mean, you still got to have a plan. And I think in the first couple of Test matches, he's been allowed to just bowl over and over and dictate terms. Yes, it's been difficult conditions at times, but there's been no pressure put back on him. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Literally half Usman Khawaja's age, who turned 38 the other day. What do you reckon they're going to talk about out there in the middle?
Oh, they've got to try and find some common ground, but they'll just keep it to cricket, I reckon, to be honest. It is really exciting, though, to see such a young guy get an opportunity. We don't see it every day in the Australian cricket team. We've been so successful for a long time. Really excited to see the future of Australian cricket on hand at the Boxing Day test at the MCG. Nathan
mcSweeney, the man to make way. He revealed, and he was really classy in the way that he's handled all of this, it must be said, but he revealed that you sent him a text message. Pup, what compelled you to do so?
Oh, I feel for him. There's no doubt about it. I also sent Sam a message as well, congratulating him. So, look, I think that's one of the things I said before a ball was bowled in this series. Whoever they picked to open the batting alongside Usman Khawaja, I think they should have gave them the series, especially if they went a young player. If they went Sam at the start or Nathan, whoever they went, I just think they deserved the entire summer. It's a hard job opening the batting. Look at the 3 venues he's had to open the batting at. As tough as it gets in Test cricket, and you're facing the number 1 Test bowler in the world. So I really felt for him. It's great to see him go back to the BBL and make runs, because that also shows me he's not out of form. He's just been facing a very good attack and certainly one very good bowler on tough batting wickets. I think Bumrah's got him out every time apart from one as well. So feel for him. I've got no doubt he'll be back playing for Australia soon. He's just got to keep making runs and stay nice and positive. And I just wanted to let him know that.
Jasprit Bumrah, indeed. 4 out of 5 times he got the wicket of mcSweeney. Also 4 out of 5 times he's got the wicket of Usman Khawaja. So I've crunched some numbers, gents, and this is how extraordinary Jasprit Bumrah is against Australian openers. He's played 10 tests against Australia, all of those within Australia. And in that time, Australia has used 8 different openers. That means this Boxing Day, it'll be opener number 9 in match 11. He has dismissed an opener 15 times in those 10 tests, averaging 14.13, astonishing numbers at an economy of 2.22. And 3 of those openers, one of them is sitting next to us, Finch, Joe Burns and Matthew Wade, never played another test after facing India. He has forced Australia to make changes.
Stat. I'm sure Finch loves hearing that, Nez.
Serious,
awesome stat for you,
yeah, she did some serious work behind the scenes
This
there.
is how I spend my Saturday nights, and I'm not even joking. Look at him laughing at me. He's like,
right.
you nuffy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He forces Australia to make changes, doesn't he, Finchy?
Yeah, absolutely he does. He's a world-class bowler. He's as good as we've seen in this country for a long, long time, and a few of those guys are in a rocking chair, I reckon, rocking back and forth, just saying, don't come at me again, Jasprit.
What do you think about all of that, Pup?
Look, it's an opening bowler's job to get opening batsmen out. Bumrah's a great. He's already a great of the game. I think and I've said it a number of times, he's the best bowler across all 3 formats. This summer, he's proving he's definitely the best test bowler. I think we've seen it in the shorter formats, but this summer we're seeing it. In conditions of being good for that brand new ball, if you're on the bowler side of things, it's been tough for batting, but his record's phenomenal. You can't hide behind it. And, some very good batsmen have had to face him and he's got them out. But, I guess that's the expectation from India's point of view, having a bowler like Bumrah. You want him to knock the top order over early with the new ball and get stuck into our number 3, our number 4, our number 5. And, India's plan will be the same. Bumrah's plan will be the same. Get Travis Head in as early as possible in this Boxing Day test match.
He's taken 21 wickets. The rest of the Indian attack has taken 26 wickets. It's a little bit like Travis Head with the 33% of Australia's runs. How have you thought about the way that India have bowled?
Yeah, look, it does feel as though it's very much Bumrah or bust at the moment. If the Australians and Travis Head have managed to manage the Bumrah spells and find their way through, then really the middle order and the lower order of the Australian team have been able to get on top and put some scores on the board. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to that contest for the most part, but you've still got to have your diligence, because there have been some really good spells bowled by the others within the Indian ranks, but I think they've just not been able to maintain that. So I think once again, it'll come down to Bumrah and whether he's able to make the early breakthroughs to see whether they're able to manage Travis Head, get him in early and put him under some pressure, because they haven't been able to do that often enough.
Mohammad Shami has been put a line through his name for the rest of the series as well. They've certainly missed him. Travis Head, Akashdeep has come out and said they think he has a weakness or a problem with the short ball and they'll use that. What do you think the plan should be for India against Travis Head?
I don't mind them coming out and saying that, just to put it in Travis Head's mind. I think the key to someone like Travis Head, he's playing smart cricket. He's seeing, he's coming in when the ball's not brand new. He's maximising, the better the bowling, the more aggressive I'm going to be. He's backing himself. He's full of confidence playing his natural game. I think the key for India is not to ball chase. I think look to get him out. If Travis Head scores 40 runs off 10 balls or 20 balls, I wouldn't be too concerned if he's out. What you don't want is Travis Head getting past that 40, 50, 60 because he knows how to make big hundreds. So I'd be keeping fieldsmen in catching positions, hoping he made a mistake, bowling patiently, that line and length, attack the stumps. Look to get him LB bowled, caught behind, use your bouncer for sure. But I think at the moment they've been a bit wide. He's been throwing his hands at the ball. He's had a little bit of luck, but he's backing himself and he's full of confidence. So he'll give you a chance, Travis said. You just got to hang on to it, but he's batting beautifully at the moment.
The one thing I reckon that they're doing with Travis Head is he's walking to the crease and they're going defensive with their fields and they're bowling defensive to try and contain him early on. You can't contain guys who score as freely as Travis Head, no matter how many players you put out on deep point or deep square leg. So they've just been negative towards him. And I think that that's happened from Australia at times too, when Rishabh Pant comes in about fielders scatter and before you know it, you nick one and there's 2 slips instead of 3. And you start to get the momentum going your way through just your presence at the crease and your intent to try and score. So I'd like to see from both teams, be more attacking to the attacking black players.
I couldn't agree more. You've got to attack the stumps. There's actually no more important player in the Australian lineup than Travis Head to attack the stumps. That's what his career suggests, not just at international level, but through his development in the domestic format. So you've got to attack those stumps.
It sounds like he's going to play, but there's no doubt he's not going to be 100% fit. They've admitted he's got a quad tweak and there is still a question mark there. Does that impact the way that he bats at all?
No. He's not looking to knock and run anyway. He sees it in his area and he goes hard. He leaves nothing in the tank.
Mitch Marsh, Michael Clarke, he's only bowled 6 overs in the past 2 tests and he's averaging 13.8 with the bat. What do you want to see from him at the MCG?
I guess like all of us, I'm unsure why he's not bowling. I'm hearing that he's fit, but I don't know why. The only thing I can think of is when he's fit, there's a certain amount of overs they want him to bowl, and maybe they're protecting those overs for the second innings at the Gabba. I think Mitch is a wicket taker. You know, I always believed as a captain, there's not necessarily a set plan around 2 opening bowlers, your first change, then your all-rounder, then your spinner. I didn't believe in that. I believe use your stock at whatever time you think is appropriate. So to me, Mitch is a wicket taker. He could bowl first change. He could bowl third change. I don't know why he hasn't bowled as much. I heard Paddy come and speak after the game and he said because of the on-off at the Gabba, he felt himself and Starkey were fresh and feeling good. So I get that. But if the wicket's good at the MCG and the test goes 5 days, you'd imagine they'll need Mitch to bowl a lot more overs.
Speaking of captaincy, if Pat Cummins ends up missing a test or 2, which could happen in the Sri Lanka test series because of the birth of his second child, there's 2 vice captains in Australia, Steve Smith and Travis Head. Who are you giving the nod to?
There's 2 vice captains. I'm not sure what that means. I'm giving it to the vice captain. So is there like one vice captain above the other one? I don't really know how the system works at the moment with the Australian cricket team, but I always played with 1 captain and 1 vice captain. And when the captain was out, the vice captain would take over. So I would imagine it would be one of Travis Head or Steve Smith.
Take a pick, mate.
You're not a fan of the co-vice captains,
I don't 2 vice captains, mate. If I was captain of Australia, I'd be having 1 vice captain, not 2. So I'm confused. So I'll let the confusion stay with the selectors and they can work out their choice.
In one word, who would you have, Head or Smith?
I'd go Travis Head, looking to the future.
Steve Smith, let Travis Head go about his business as usual.
Just finally, Pup, the Indian media and the way that the Indian team has dealt with the media has been interesting and raised a few eyebrows, certainly sold a few newspapers, shall we say, in the last few days. Virat Kohli at the airport a little bit upset, and then Ravi Jadeja, who does speak pretty good English, or English pretty well, should I say, if I'm speaking decent English. He didn't take any questions in English at the end of his presser and it was running half an hour late. What have you made of the whole situation?
I don't think much has changed, to be honest. I've experienced Indian teams come here and their captain, MS Dhoni, didn't do 1 press conference the entire test series. So, you know, Sachin was very restrictive around, you know, when he chose to do media. I think it's been the same for a long time. So I like the fact they're still putting someone up. I think they made it pretty clear before they left India what they were going to be like when they arrived in Australia. They're going to stick to themselves, stick to their plan. You know, Gambier made that very clear in the first press conference. So I don't know why anybody's surprised. And for them, it'd be about what's happening on the field, not off the field. So I don't think even the chat around it would be bothering India too much.
Yeah, it's not unexpected.
That's all you got to say?
Yeah.
Keeping your powder dry. Michael Clarke, thank you very much for your thoughts ahead of this Boxing Day test.
Thanks,
we can
guys.
tell and see that you're a man on the move, so we'll let you get to your destination. And a very Merry Christmas, Pup,
Thank
to
you.
Merry Christmas, pup.
Merry
You
Christmas,
too.
mate.
Have a great Chrissy, guys.
Don't go anywhere because Annabel Sutherland's pretty happy heading into Christmas Day. Yet another ton for the Aussie gun. The Aussie women have secured a 2-0 series victory over New Zealand. Annabel Sutherland with her 5th international ton, just 23 years of age. Finchy, how special is she?
She's a superstar. She's every level of the game that she's played, she's dominated, and just international cricket's easy for her at the moment, isn't it? When you're a world-class player and you're in that rich vein of form, you get out of bed every day and you're like, can't wait to get bat in hand. So she's a special player.
In the zone. Elisa Healy returned to bat, didn't keep. How do you think we're shaping up ahead of the Ashes?
I think we're in really good shape, and particularly, you know, we've played 6 games. It was a washout, but we've won 5 games on the bounce effectively, looking really good. And we've had contributions all the way through the lineup as well, which has been, you know, it's not always that common to see through a series everyone contributing. We've seen it with this Australian team. They couldn't be in better shape going into the Ashes.
The only thing that I think that would make them slightly nervous at times is that Annabel Sutherland has got them out of trouble so often. When the top order does get knocked over, she's been the one to continually rescue the mission. So they need top order runs to win the Ashes, though.
Absolutely.
I love the difference with the men, though, is that it seems to be the youngsters right through to the veterans who are performing on one day or another. They've got some absolute young guns. The Big Bash, you've both been working on it. A lot of question marks over the surfaces, particularly Marvel Stadium, but the showgrounds as well. What do you both think about it?
Marvel was shocking last night.
Yeah.
I was out on the ground and it was slippery. Like you can just see there, I mean, they had an RMIT graduation with, I think, 14,000 people on the surface 2 or 3 days before. And
That's the showground?
that's the showgrounds in Sydney. That's not ideal for Cricket Australia trying to market a world-class Big Bash or T20 tournament. So for me, there has to be questions about, a Marvel Stadium serious about hosting cricket? Because like each and every year, the first couple of games, the same thing happens. There's always some issues there. So if they're not interested in hosting cricket, I mean, take it somewhere else. Take it to Geelong. I'll have it.
Well, that's it. The other concern is the Geelong wicket's been a bit of a problem the last couple of years as well. We
this
had a
one was
hole in
fine.
we had a hole in the pitch covers last year as well. So I want us to get these outer grounds right. If we're going to use them, make sure everything is working in the right direction. Because I think Geelong's a great venue, and it could be a great move for the Renegades to head out there if Marvel's not working. And that's been proven over a lot longer period of time to not be investing in cricket well enough.
Last year, there was an unseen amount of rain the day before the game, so a bit got under the covers.
Yep.
The wicket at Geelong the other night, I was there at the ground, the wicket was fine.
Yep.
Played nicely, Hobart just batted horrifically.
Melbourne Renegades, great saying it as well, somebody who loves Geelong as
Yes.
well. Another decision that's come about, and you've taken off the Champions Trophy blazer now,
I
but the
have, yes.
Champions Trophy for 2025, a decision has been made that India will play in the UAE, which means that if they make it through to the final, it won't be in Lahore, it'll be in the UAE. How do we feel about this decision?
I think it'd be a bit of a loss, actually. I would love to see Pakistan get the opportunity to host the final. You know, let's just hope at some point that we can mend some bridges and see India play back in Pakistan at some stage, and then vice versa. It's not the case at the moment. It just still makes me feel a little bit uneasy.
Well, it was made clear from the outset that India weren't going to travel to Pakistan to play in the tournament. So for the good of cricket, I mean, for the tournament to go ahead, there had to be a compromise. That's unfortunate because I think what Pakistan are doing, they've proved over a period of time now that they can host great cricket. So, yeah, that's a shame, but at the end of the day, if India weren't going to partake, then it makes for a really interesting tournament, so compromise.
Huge news coming through this morning as well. Ben Stokes, we knew he'd injured his hamstring, but he is missing 3 months. It's a big chunk of cricket. He's come out and sent this tweet, something else to overcome. Go on then. I've got so much more left in this tank and so much more blood, sweat and tears to go through for my team. There's a reason I have a phoenix permanently inked on my body, and I'll leave that last line for you all to interpret. He's fired up.
Very fired up. 3 months is a long time for a hamstring injury. So, it'd be great to see him back playing. What's a phoenix?
A phoenix? Yeah. It's rises from the ashes is the inference there.
Oh, right. I didn't know that.
So, look, it's concerning for him long term, I think, as an all-rounder. This is not the first hamstring he's had recently, and I think seeing such an extended layoff is a real concern. Does he then have to put more focus onto his batting and say, you know what, I'm not that 20 over a day type bowler anymore, which really changes the dynamic for England, where that's been a real strength. If the spinner's not being able to keep it tight, they've been able to use Ben to really tighten things up. Those days might be over.
Not about to get a phoenix tattoo?
No.
Doesn't even know what it is.
I don't have any tattoos.
Don't go anywhere. We're going to take on the short stuff next. I might even make Ferg put on the Champions Trophy blazer one more time. Welcome to the short stuff presented by Western Union. Fast and reliable international money transfers. Ferg, should there be cricket on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day?
Christmas Eve, yes, we can do that. I'm not sure about Christmas Day yet. I don't think Australia's ready for that, and I'm not ready for that.
They travel anyway to get to Boxing Day. What do you think?
No issues at all. By the end of Christmas, everyone's looking for something to watch it at night. Get on there.
Okay. mcSweeney's kit bag ended up in Melbourne, the poor thing. Ever been separated from your kit bag?
Yeah, IPL game. Turned up to a game in Mumbai. Kit bag stayed in Gujarat.
How do you feel about the fact that the Melbourne Stars have started 0-3?
It's not good for the Stars. They need to win. As a former Renegade player, a little bit excited.
Sam Konstas says he hadn't even met Mitch Marsh before. Can you relate?
No, to be honest, I mean, that would be a really unusual feeling. I think every team that I played in, I was very lucky with the senior players in the team, so I didn't have to run into any issues like that.
What do you want for Christmas?
Nothing.
Oh.
A day with the kids and the family.
Oh, family man over here. I want an Australia win, do I?
Absolutely. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.